watershed reclamation is an ongoing process. Restoration of the Stonycreek watershed near Johnstown has been going on for 2 decades and is one of Pennsylvania's greatest success stories. But that doesn't mean the work is done. Key to maximizing the value of a watershed is assessing where it is now and where it needs to be. In 2008, the Foundation for Pennsylvania Watersheds helped to fund the Stonycreek River Watershed Reassessment.
It was a multi-year process from conception to gathering the partners, securing the funding, and then doing the actual environmental work as well as the economic side and recreational potential side of it. The Stony and other watersheds sort of have a life unto themselves in terms of what's happening there environmentally and what that leads to for the natural life and for the people who are part of the natural life. An assessment, if it's done with all those partners and all those players like this Stony was done, if it's shared with the broader community, then I think you help to talk about that connectivity and help to get that in people's minds.
Events like Lift Johnstown celebrate that connectivity. Here, nonprofit groups looking for volunteers come together with people eager to lend a hand. Volunteer matchmaking, inspiring 200 people a year to get connected to their community.
People that use rivers and use trails will become stewards of those rivers and trails. And so that's what we do.
Years and years ago, the 2 rivers that come into Johnstown, the Little Conemaugh and the Stonycreek, were basically orange and polluted. And a lot of folks said, when I grew up around here, there's nothing you can do about it. And over time, a lot of leaders back in the late 80s, early 90s said, hey, there is something we can do about it.
And that sort of goes to that larger question, what happens with studies? You know? And if they sit on a shelf and collect dust, as the cliche goes, that's a shame. So you look at it, what needs further environmental restoration? This presents what the barriers are, and use that to find out what the opportunities are, what the obstacles are, and then what the opportunities are. So you can go for additional grant funding to leverage the work. We have this assessment, we know where we are. We've documented it, we got the numbers, we got the science, we got the interest. And here's how we want to move forward. The assessment tells a story of your community, and I think there's a value in that. In fact, I think it makes where you live richer by knowing about it in this fashion. What's your role in understanding stormwater runoff, for example, in a community, in a small community along that watershed, and what can be done to improve the river and improve the quality of life? What about the other activities, the fishing, riverside trails, even water trails, as we're trying to grow in the Stony in terms of the boating activity? To understand that assessment contextualizes all these activities. For years, we turned our backs on the rivers because they were so polluted. Now it's time to invite people into the rivers, to understand them, to appreciate them, and to become defenders and supporters of their continued restoration.
More than $10 million of federal funds invested into that corridor. Now you actually have some of the best whitewater rafting, kayaking in the state.
The community actually worked to put an in-river whitewater course.
A park was developed out of that, simply for whitewater kayaking.
You couldn't have imagined that a generation ago. A generation ago it was yellow, or orange, depending how you looked at it. It can't happen until you document where you are and what your needs are.
Bethlehem Steel was founded in 1857 and represented the pinnacle of American manufacturing power. The manufacturer's water company was chartered in 1900 for the purpose of providing water and power for the commercial and manufacturing enterprises in Cambria County. In 1998, the Foundation for Pennsylvania Watersheds helped bring state and local representatives together with Bethlehem Steel to broker a transaction which changed the way people viewed the region's environmental resources. Bethlehem Steel agreed to sell the manufacturer's water company, with its major asset being the Quemahoning Dam.
A 2-county authority was formed. The Cambria-Somerset Authority was formed to purchase that and a couple other smaller dams. I don't mean to be sarcastic, but in Pennsylvania, 2 counties to get together on anything is remarkable enough in itself. It's been run by a 2-county board with an idea of the water being available for industrial and economic development, but also with the shoreline and its other assets being able to be made available for recreation. So it becomes a community asset that it really wasn't before. We have a rendezvous, a whitewater rendezvous, where people from, one year we counted 22 states, were there. You know, that came because of the Bents Creek Canoe Club harping on the idea for years that we're missing an opportunity. We have great whitewater, why aren't we using it? And so that came from grassroots up.
We're advocates for cleaner rivers, but we simply didn't have the knowledge back then that we do now.
From a business or economic standpoint, you have a lot of high-tech companies coming with younger people. They want a mountain bike, they want a kayak, they want a whitewater raft, they want to fish.
Using our natural resources in a responsible way as community development. Beautiful.